Today we'll be talking about the two-dimensional measurement of area. And the area formula can vary depending on which shape you have. But for the most part, like parallelogram, rectangle, and square, those are very easy because it's really just base times height. And in the case of a square, they're the same thing, so it's really just a side squared. Trapezoid, it's a similar idea. Basically what you do is you take the average of the two bases, you find like this, right here, base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, and then times the height. For a triangle, it's like half of a rectangle or a parallelogram or a square, and you do base times height right here, and then divide that by 2. And finally, for a circle, it's pi times the radius squared. Now, a super helpful thing for all of these non-circle shapes here is that the base and height are always perpendicular to one another. Okay, so let's find the area of these figures. If we look at the first one is a trapezoid. So the area is going to be b1 plus b2 all over 2 times the height. So base 1 could be 8.4, and base 2 could be 4.2. The height is going to be 3.6, and this 4.4 is not necessary for what we're trying to calculate. So let's plug things in. And then when we plug it into our calculator, we get 22.68 square yards. Remember, it's in square yards because area is a two-dimensional measurement. So for the next one here, this is a triangle. For a triangle, the area is base times height divided by 2. And remember, the base and height are always perpendicular, so that tells me that 9 is the base and that 76 is the height. Now, notice real quick that this is in centimeters and millimeters. One quick way around that is to convert the 76 millimeters to 7.6 centimeters. And we won't be using this 100 at all. So we do 9 times 7.6 divided by 2 in the calculator, and we get 34.2 square centimeters. Now, this problem would have been different if you converted this to millimeters instead, but this is a totally acceptable way to do it as well. So for this next problem, we have a circle, and the circle here gives us a diameter of 18. But the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So from this diameter, if we divide that by 2, we get that the radius is 9 inches. And then we can plug in what we need to plug in. And when we plug in 9 squared times pi in our calculator, we get about 254.47 square inches. This first example says sketch a triangle with an area of 24 square inches. There are tons of ways to do this. I'm just going to do one of them, and I'll start with a triangle. It can look like anything, don't worry about it. And then I'm going to put a height right here. So it's a right angle, so we know it's a height. And I'm going to pick a height of, let's say, 6 inches. So what we need here, we need the area, which is base times height over 2. We need that to equal 24. And really, what this means is that if we multiply by 2 on both sides here, to cancel that out from the right side, those cancel here, what we need is that our base times our height has to be 48. Well, I just picked 6 arbitrarily for my height, which means in order to make 48, my base would have to be 8 inches. And if you check it out here, 48, does that equal 8 times 6? Why, heck yes it does. So great, that's a triangle that has an area of 24 square inches. Now, this one's a little trickier here. So it says a circle has an area of 201.06 square centimeters, and we need to find its radius. Remember, area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So in our case, we have 201.06 equals pi times the radius squared. Well, first thing we should do to get r by itself is divide by pi on both sides. And then, using our calculator, we'll get about 64 for that, and that equals the radius squared. Well, to get the radius, all you have to do now is take the square root. And the radius is 8 centimeters.